JRPGs are a fan favorite genre. Still niche, but probably less so than when I was a kid. If you're a fan of this genre, you've been enjoying an incredible renaissance over the last console generation. And 2024 only looks to add to that. I have every JRPG coming out in 2024 on this list. Okay, well, at least most of the JRPGs. Yeah, it is massive. There's a lot on this list. These will be in release order for those that I know, and for the rest, it's just chaos. All right, let's go. Coming up first, we have Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. This is the newest in a long-running Yakuza series. This one takes both protagonists and pushes them together with all the standard action, combat, crazy and emotional storytelling, silly, fun mini games, and much, much more. This title adds in some of that cozy game element in the Dondoko Island. In this place, you're crafting, fishing, putting together a house and decorating. There's all kinds of stuff. Like, there's so much to this game. It'll have you busy for months once it releases on January 26th. For all current gen platforms, bar the Switch. Coming up next, we got Granblue Fantasy Relink. Now, this game has been on our radar for forever. It has been delayed more than like any other game, but it is an action RPG by SaGa in the Granblue Fantasy franchise. It's got gorgeous visuals, high-octane combat, a multiplayer mode, tons of awesome characters, and what promises to be an incredible story campaign. I cannot wait for this game, and luckily we don't have to wait that long until we get our hands on it, February 1st, 2024. All right, next up, we got Persona 3 Reload. Persona is iconic. It's been an incredible series from the get-go, but 3 kind of put it on the map, and then 5 exploded it. Persona 3 Reload looks to capitalize on the huge overhaul on the graphics, on the blowing up into the mainstream audience, and new quality of life, and all the different things. Persona 3 is one of the best, but this brings it into the modern age with its amazing turn-based combat, demon catching and evolution, dungeon crawling, life sim stuff, all that you would expect from a Persona game. This new iteration comes to life February 2nd, and it's even going to be on Game Pass. So make sure you check this one out. All right, coming up next, we have 2 games releasing on February 29th. That's that leap year day, right? That extra day in February. So it's, I suppose they thought, hey, it's a special day or whatever. Anyway, the first one is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It's the second story of this enormous remake trilogy, and it's reborn at the end of February. You see what I did there? Yeah. Forecasting a huge open world, loads of mini games at the reimagined Golden Saucer, chocobo racing, intense story with an innovative action combat system that they've added even more to since Remake. It's difficult not to be overhyped for this game, but it's going to be awesome, and I can't wait to play this. What the heck is with the publishers putting everything on February? There's so much. There's no way we can afford and play all of these things. Anyway, good. It'll still be good. Lots of good things. Either way, Rebirth explodes exclusively onto the PS5 February 29th. The second game releasing that day is Goblin Slayer. It's got a much longer name, but I'm not going to say it. It's a strategy RPG in the Goblin Slayer universe with original main story and the characters to accompany the gnome group of protagonists. I think along the lines of, say, Final Fantasy Tactics or Tactics Ogre, which has me really intrigued for this one. It's fully voiced, at least in Japanese. I think it's going to be English subtitles only, but this is a kind of a surprise on the list. It's one I certainly didn't expect, but I'm actually quite looking forward to. This comes out, again, February 29th, which might seem like a rough launch date, but this one is exclusive to Switch and PC. So, something for everyone, I guess. All right, coming up next, we have Unicorn Overlord. I don't know what's with their titles, but whatever. A new title from Vanillaware and Atlas, the creators of 13 Sentinels and Odin Sphere. Quite frankly, this one looks absolutely incredible. The art style is gorgeous in that unique Vanillaware look. And combat looks kind of like Fire Emblem-esque, but it's got its own flair and style. There's still a lot to learn about this, a lot we don't know before it releases, but it's coming out on all platforms March 8th, and I am really, really looking forward to it. All right, the next one up is Eiyuden Chronicles 100 Heroes. This is like a spiritual successor to the Suikoden series, one we'll talk about later, with 100 different heroes to find and recruit as you go through the story with an awesome looking turn-based combat, a great looking art style, and a promising and engaging story. I am stupidly excited for this one. There are just too many good games. Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes releases April 23rd for all platforms bar the Switch. Alright, next game is Metaphor Re Fantazio. This is actually what we knew as Re Fantasy for a long time. It's basically kind of like Persona, but in a medieval fantasy setting. And to be honest, that is exactly what I want. I already love Persona, and giving me new characters in a fantasy swords and sorcery setting is so exciting. I thought 2023 was one of the best years in gaming, but already 2024 is looking like, at least for me personally, it's going to be put up a pretty darn good fight. It is stacked, and Metaphor Re Fantazio arrives for modern platforms, bar the Switch, sometime in 2024. And man, this is so exciting. It looks incredible. Legend of Heroes Trails Through Daybreak is yet another game in the Legend of Heroes series. Bringing a new arc, Trails Through Daybreak has a new protagonist in Van Arkwright. This is a great anime aesthetic and one of the largest series that's full of lore and characters. Is this the one to start on? Who knows? Any game I say to start on could also start a war. So how about start wherever you want? And if someone wants to blast you for it, who cares? If this one looks interesting, just go for it. This title already released in Japan, but should be out sometime in 2024 in the West. Legend of Legacy HD Remaster is a facelift for an old 3DS title from NIS America and Furyu. It has nearly the same look as Alliance Alive, but hopefully without the soft lock problem that remaster had. Just remember that this is essentially a dungeon crawler in third person. So there's not a lot of story to be had here. Make sure that it's what you want before you buying it. Legend of Legacy Remastered. It's coming to all platforms bar the Xbox sometime in 2024. SaGa Emerald Beyond is the next title in the SaGa series with brand new story and characters. Square promises a story that branches and unfolds based on your choices and actions, with multiple endings and scenes to discover, making each playthrough unique. Emerald Beyond looks to have a very interesting turn-based combat system, which relies on this Glimmer ability system. Formations and attack chains, all this different stuff. SaGa Emerald Beyond is coming to all platforms, including mobile, but not the Xbox. Dragon Quest III Remake. We have a brief trailer showing an absolutely stunning HD 2D aesthetic remake of the third Dragon Quest installment. That's about all we know of this one. While many were awed by what they saw in the short snippet, we are all waiting for more information. Which is interesting because that is the same for this next title, and that's Dragon Quest XII. This one, we have very little except a short title screen. Assurances that it will be a new direction and a more adult take on the franchise, and the hope that Square will actually produce. While I am very excited for both of these Dragon Quest titles, we know precious little at the moment, but they theoretically are coming out sometime in 2024. Coming up next, we have Lost Soul Aside. Now, this has been in development for a very long time. It feels like forever. It originally was developed by one dude, and then it caught Square's attention, and now it has blown up into a full group of, I believe they're calling themselves Ulti Zero. And this guy loved Final Fantasy, and so he wanted to make a game that had the look of Final Fantasy 15, but had combat more like Devil May Cry, which he loved. That is essentially what he is making. It's an incredible looking action RPG with insane graphics, compelling story, intense, flashy combat. Supposedly, this one is coming early 2024. To PS5 and PC only, though. But we'll see about that one. I mean, we've heard about it for so long, it's hard to know. But hopefully that's true, or at least it comes soon. Or maybe just wait for an open month. Don't give me another February release, right? Please. Because I bad want to play this one. All right, coming up next is Sandland. Now, this is an interesting take on an action RPG from Bandai Namco. It's an open world. It's got the aesthetic of Dragon Ball. I mean, it's the same artist, by the way, Akira Toriyama. This is a title you play as a young demon prince. To be honest, I don't know how I feel about this game. It could be really cool, and the action combat looks great, but it looks like really odd too. With vehicle combat and customizations as well as more typical martial arts fighting, it definitely has potential. If it looks good to you, keep an eye out on it. It's set to be released on all platforms bar the Switch sometime in 2024. Shadow of the Road is a cool CRPG / tactical RPG kind of rolled into a feudal Japan aesthetic with important choices that determine the story. Intricate combat and an awesome art style, this one has the possibility of being a real sleeper hit. As of right now, this is a PC-only release, and it should come out sometime in 2024. Suikoden 1 and 2 Remaster was an exciting announcement, and is still a compelling release, but it has been delayed without a new release date. And Konami has us all a little nervous because they've been out of the game a while, and the MGS collection was a bare bones cash grab. Here's hoping that Suikoden 1 and 2 Remaster won't let us down, and it's supposed to come to all platforms sometime in 2024. Coming up next, we have Where Winds Meet. Now, this is an open world action adventure RPG that gives a lot of kind of Wo Long Fallen Dynasty vibes. This game is being developed by Everstone Games and is set in ancient China. It definitely kind of has a Ghost of Tsushima feel to me as well. But I love the look and the speed of it. Running and quickly jumping up to the top of buildings, flying across the rooftops. Really random looking powers, but they all look really awesome. The combat seems visceral and fun, and I think this one is one to look out for. Expect this game mid to late 2024, but it's on PC only, for now at least. Coming up next, we have Dragon's Dogma 2. This is a sequel to a, 12-year-old game that was an underrated hidden gem, and then it has kind of grown into this cult following since it was released. But it wasn't hugely popular at the beginning. Now, the second game looks to take all the things that we loved about the first game and just amplify it. It's a single-player, narrative-driven action RPG with challenging combat, a unique kind of pawn system that's really interesting, and an engaging class and upgrade paths. I loved the first one, and this follow-up looks like everything I could have asked for. It's set to come out as early as March of 24, if you believe the rumors. If not, I still expect it to be somewhere kind of in that beginning to mid of next year. Again, hopefully not February. All right, next up is Dragon Age Dreadwolf. I admit this one might be a little bit of a reach, but it is an upcoming RPG from BioWare. This is a direct sequel to Inquisition, and again, we know very little about this title. Other than Solus seems to be the bad guy, makes sense. Dragon Age has been kind of hit and miss for me. I love the setting of the games, and I did like a lot of decisions they made, but then if they would have maybe just kept out the gatekeeping in Inquisition, I would have probably loved it much more than I did. I have high hopes, well, maybe decently high hopes for Dreadwolf, and I'd love to see BioWare on top of their game again, but we'll just have to wait and see. It's just supposedly is coming out sometime in 2024. We'll find out. All right, coming up next, we have Demonschool. Now, this is a very interesting, stylish, tactical RPG where you fight crazy-looking monsters and weird stuff while also going to college and doing life. It has a kind of a light horror narrative with loads of side quests. You use a school to level up characters and build their relationships. There's like 15 of them, so there's lots of that to do. The little indie has some very interesting ideas for combat, and I think it has some real potential. If it looks like your thing, make sure you wishlist it and keep an eye on it, as it should be releasing on all platforms sometime next year. SacriFire is a modern JRPG-inspired game with a unique battle system and very cool visuals. This one came through Kickstarter and has only grown in scope and depth. It's a land of two worlds. One, a modern sci-fi interesting city that's underground, and then there's the world of the afterlife in a very fantasy feel. After several demos, this one is poised for a very exciting release in 2024. Lumentale Memories of Trey is a monster collection RPG in a similar vein to something like Pokemon. The monsters look pretty good. The story sounds like it has a lot more depth to it than your Pokemon games typically do. Lumentale is set to feature a lot of mini games, exploration, puzzles as well. What's cool is that you can grow your creatures not just through battle, but also through other methods as well. Lumentale looks to be coming to the Switch and PC sometime in 2024. Dark Deity 2 is a Fire Emblem-esque game from the developer Sword and Axe. The first game was a somewhat surprising hit. It actually was super good, and I liked it quite a bit. The second installment of the series brings more classes, more options in customizing your heroes, more skills, more gear. It creating bonds between your characters and choosing between factions. Dark Deity 2 looks to up the ante in virtually every way from the first one. It's planned to release on PC in 2024, and it's definitely one to keep an eye on. Again, make sure you wishlist any of these games that you're interested in, especially on Steam, as that just helps developers to get more backing, even if it's not for this project, for future projects. So, don't forget. DECAPOLICE is a crime suspense RPG from level 5. This is an interesting one with two kind of open worlds that run simultaneously. One is a virtual space that is somehow fully connected to reality, and your virtual space gets hacked, and your characters turn into these like anthropomorphic animals while in the virtual world. Using clues that you find in that virtual world, you can solve crimes and unravel mysteries in the real. Very unique art and its own kind of take on turn-based combat. DECAPOLICE is definitely one to watch when it comes out on Nintendo Switch and the PlayStations sometime in 2024. The White Raven is possibly the biggest hidden gem and under the radar game on this list. I've never heard anybody talk about this one, but it has a super cool aesthetic with kind of a CRPG and strategy RPG mixed elements, right? There's some city building as well. There's relationship sims. There's this story-rich RPG, man. I'm telling you, if this trailer looks interesting to you, this is one to watch. As of now, it looks to be coming to PC and Nintendo Switch. It's possible we'll see it to come to others, but we'll see. But it's set to release in 2024, and it's definitely one to keep an eye out on. Coming up next, we have Bloomtown. Now, this is a narrative JRPG that mixes turn-based combat with monster taming and social sim stuff. It's all set in what seems to be, kind of nice 1960s America-esque world. There's a lot to like in this darker side of Pokemon. From the incredible pixel art to the different take on story, especially if you've been craving a monster-catching game with a more serious tone, this might be what you've been looking for. It's set to come out for all systems, Q2 of 2024. Rise of the Ronin is an upcoming open-world action RPG from Team Ninja and published by Sony, exclusive to the PS5. With Ghost of Tsushima and Neo vibes, Rise of the Ronin puts you in samurai combat, but with the added firearms. It's a little weird to me, but if they can pull that combo off, it'll be somewhat similar to games like a Dragon Ishin and Ghost of Tsushima. I think there is an opportunity for a spectacular game here. There is no release date announced, but I would expect it to release at some point in 2024, maybe mid to late year. Ys 10 is the next game in the long-running Ys series. The game already released in Japan, but should be heading west in mid-2024. Ys is a tremendous action RPG series with memorable characters, fast-paced combat, and fun, engaging stories. Also, absolutely fantastic music. So good. I loved Ys 8, and 9 was good as well. So I have high hopes for 10. With the travel system getting better and better each outing, and the combat adding more and more to its frenetic gameplay, I expect that I will enjoy this one quite a bit when it comes out sometime in the year. All right, last up is Stellar Blade. Now this is a hack and slash action RPG set in a post-apocalyptic world with deep narrative and brutal, blistering combat. Stellar Blade comes out swinging with incredible visuals and art direction. Stellar Blade is being published by Sony, so it will be exclusive to the PS5. If this game catches your, hey, eyes up here, it looks to be releasing sometime in 2024. And that's it for me. Let me know in the comments which of these you are most looking forward to and which ones you're planning to pick up. I'll have a video coming soon of my most anticipated games for the year. So if you want to catch that one, make sure you subscribe and ring that notification bell for me so you never miss a thing. If you enjoyed this video, do me a huge favor and hit that like button. It really does help a lot. Thank you so much for watching. Good hunting.